In the dusty, sunlit corner of a quiet carpentry workshop in the village of Alden, lived an apprentice named Elian. Elian was talented, but he possessed a dangerous habit. He could not leave his work alone. He was obsessed with smoothness. He believed that a good piece of work, whether it was a chair, a bowl, or a small figurine, had to be flawless. If his finger caught even the slightest splinter or bump, he would take up his sandpaper, scrape, scrape, scrape. The sound filled the shop from dawn until dusk. One week, the master carpenter, a man of few words named Silas, gave Elian a special task. "Carve a bear from this block of cedar," Silas said. "It is for the village school. Make it strong." Elian began with passion. He chiseled the rough shape, revealing the shoulders, the head, and the paws. By the second day, the bear looked magnificent. It had a rugged, powerful stance. It looked alive. But then, Elian's eyes narrowed. He saw a small knot in the wood on the bear's shoulder. It looked like a scar. "That won't do," Elian thought. "People will think I am lazy." He picked up his coarsest sandpaper. He rubbed the shoulder until the knot was gone. But now, the shoulder was lower than the other side. The symmetry was off. Panicking slightly, Elian sanded the other shoulder to match. Now the bear looked narrower, less powerful. Then he noticed the texture of the fur he had carved. It felt too rough to the touch. "It should be smooth," he told himself. "Perfectly smooth." He sanded the fur. He sanded the claws because they looked too sharp. He sanded the snout because it looked too jagged. Day after day, Elian worked in a cloud of sawdust. He wasn't creating anymore. He was erasing. He was trying to sand away every potential criticism, every flaw, every rough edge. On the final day, Master Silas returned to inspect the work. Elian stood proudly, covered in dust, pointing to his creation on the workbench. "It is finished, Master. It is the smoothest thing I have ever made. There is not a single flaw." Silas walked over. He looked at the object. It was no longer a bear. It was a smooth, nondescript lump of wood. The powerful shoulders were gone. The sharp claws were gone. The rugged texture of life was gone. It was perfect, yes, but it was perfectly nothing. Silas did not get angry. He simply picked up the lump of wood and held it up to the light. "Elian," Silas said gently, "where is the bear?" "It is there," Elian said, his voice trembling. I smoothed out the rough parts." Silas set the wood down and picked up a handful of the sawdust that littered the floor, the dust that used to be the bear's strength. "You have spent so much time afraid of the roughness that you have sanded away the soul of the wood," Silas said. "You tried to remove the flaws, but the flaws were part of the form. A bear is not a riverstone, Elian. It is supposed to have teeth. It is supposed to have fur. It is supposed to take up space." Elian looked at the smooth, shapeless lump. He realized with a sinking heart that in his quest to avoid being wrong, he had ceased to be anything at all. "Come," Silas said. He led Elian to the back of the shop where the raw timber was stacked. He pulled out a piece of oak, knotted, twisted, and hard. "Start again," Silas commanded. "But this time, your goal is not to make it perfect. Your goal is to know when to stop." Elian took the chisel. He was terrified. "But how will I know when it is enough?" "When you see the life in it," Silas replied. "And before you kill it with your worry." Elian began to carve again. This time he made a wolf. He carved quickly. He hit a hard knot in the wood near the wolf's ribcage. His instinct screamed at him to sand it down to hide it. He paused. His hand hovered over the sandpaper. He looked at the knot. It looked like an old wound, a scar from a battle. He put the sandpaper down. He left the knot. He carved the fur and left it jagged. He carved the teeth and left them sharp. When he stepped back, the wolf didn't look safe. It didn't look smooth. It looked wild. It looked like it was breathing. It wasn't perfect, but for the first time, Elian had created something that felt real. The lesson. Many of us treat our lives, our personalities, and our work like Elian treated the wood. We are so afraid of criticism, so afraid of being rough around the edges, that we over-polish ourselves. We sand away our quirks, our bold opinions, and our unique scars trying to be smooth, agreeable, and flawless. But perfection is a form of erasure. If you sand away every rough edge, you eventually sand away your substance. Do not try to be a smooth pebble that slips through life unnoticed. Be the oak with the knot. Be the wolf with the scar. Stop overworking your own identity. There is a moment in everything you do where it is good enough to be alive. Learn to recognize that moment, put down the sandpaper, and let it be.